Do you ever feel like you keep needing to add more and more amenities to your short-term rental in order to keep your guests happy?
Mini golf, pedal boats, indoor rock wall?
Adding new amenities will help you stand out from the crowd and help you acquire more bookings, but there are actually plenty of things that you can do to please guests that are free.
In a time where we are all watching our spending, it's a perfect opportunity to take a step back, look at the basics, and focus on what really matters.
Today, we're going to share 7 cost-free ways to enhance guest experience that aren't going to break the bank. So let's get started.
First up is fast communication, and it starts from that very first inquiry.
We pride ourselves on speedy response times, and we often get responses back from guests that say, wow, thanks for the fast response.
And that initial fast response can be the difference between securing that booking and missing out.
Exactly. When guests feel like they're getting that personalized and quick reply from you, that helps build trust right from the start. This translates to more bookings and more revenue at your property.
One way to make fast replies more efficient is by setting up quick replies or message templates within Airbnb or your property management software.
These aren't the same things as automated replies. The key here is to have pre-made messages for common guest inquiries, things like what's the Wi-Fi, or here's the check-in instructions, or thanks for booking.
This way you can quickly personalize those templates for each guest without having to start from scratch each time.
These speedy responses also need to carry through to after check-in. If the guest is having an issue with the property, things like not knowing the Wi-Fi code or can't figure out the door lock, and they ask you a question, responding quickly can turn a negative issue that the guest is having into an overall positive experience because they got it resolved quickly.
With Airbnb's read receipts feature, this is even more important now. So if you have that feature turned on, then a guest can see that you've read the message, and so it's even more important to respond quickly.
So it's crucial to give a response, even if you just need to say, let me look into that for a minute. A fast, thoughtful response is making the guest feel like they're taken care of.
Another way that you can add value to your guest stay without spending a dime is through non-automated communication.
We strongly believe that when a guest shares some personal detail about their trip, that it deserves a personalized and thoughtful response.
As part of our pre-booking message requirement on Airbnb, so we have that little box checked where guests are required to write us a little bit about their stay, and this helps us sort of weed out any potential party scenarios or bad actors. And most of the time, guests are telling us their reasons for visiting the area.
Many of our guests are traveling for special occasions, whether it's an anniversary, a birthday, or just a much needed getaway after a tough year.
Setting up quick replies in Airbnb or your PMS in this scenario can be a huge time saver. You can have the bones of the message ready to go and then just add in that personal detail. We're happy to host you and your family, or we're happy to host you for your anniversary.
This way you're not starting from scratch. You can knock that response out quickly while adding a little personal detail that makes the guests know that you actually read what they wrote.
Sometimes people are coming into town for not fun reasons, like a funeral, or they're coming in for medical procedures. And it's these situations that it's even more important to not just give them some robotic, pre-written message about, we hope you enjoy your fun time in the Palm Springs area. So in this situation, we might say something like, we're sorry to hear the circumstances for your trip, but we're happy to host you.
It's not about writing a long message. It's just showing that we care in a friendly and personal way. And that's not something you can achieve with automated messaging.
They said that to me because they care about me.
Next up is your check-in process, which can really set the tone for your guest stay.
By the time guests arrive at your house, they've probably traveled a long distance. Maybe they've faced delay. Maybe they've got kids in tow. And the last thing they want is a confusing or hard to figure out check-in process.
Keyless entry is a game changer here, but that does cost money, so we're not going to include it on this list, even though it is one of our must-have items.
What you can do for free though is really think about the guest flow for entry into your house.
For example, if guests are likely going to be parking a car in the garage, then we usually put our smart lock on the door from the garage into the house, instead of having them have to walk around out of the garage to the front door and then come back around again for their bags.
This flow is going to be unique to each property, so it's important that you just think about it for a few minutes. What's the most likely use case for how guests will interact with your house?
If you are in need of suggestions for smart home equipment for your rental property, things like keyless entry or smart garage systems, all the things, then you can visit our link in the description box below or go to arrivals.com/work smarter, not harder.
Going back to having a smooth check-in process, you don't want to forget to fill out the check-in instruction guide that Airbnb provides.
This is something that you can only access and edit from the mobile app. You cannot even find it really on the desktop site, but it's not something that you should overlook.
We include photos of every single step, even if you think they're obvious steps, just to make sure there's no confusion.
On the last page of these check-in instructions, we always include the property maintenance schedule. So these are things like when the pool is going to be cleaned, when the landscapers are going to be coming, and we also mention that there is a full house manual on the counter.
An info-packed, but to the point house manual is another great opportunity to provide guests a quick resource for how things work at your house. Which brings us to our next point.
Making sure that you have a house manual that does provide all of the essential information for your guests, but isn't too wordy.
Ours covers all the frequently asked questions, things like where to find the pool towels, or how to use the hot tub, or how to use the TV. This is another important place where you really need to think about how guests are going to use the things in your house and figure out the simplest and cleanest way to explain that.
The goal here is to provide answers to all of the things that the guests might have questions about, and therefore limit the amount of questions that they're going to you for, hopefully through the Airbnb messaging.
Inevitably, there's going to be people who don't read the house manual or pull open a single kitchen drawer before asking you which one the mixing bowls are in, but at least you can try with a nice resource there.
While the house manual focuses mostly on how to use or find different things in the house, we also do include a simple one-page list of local recommendations broken down into categories like coffee shops, Italian restaurants, breweries, and parks.
For guests who want more in-depth recommendations, the first step is to direct them to our blog.
Our blog posts are pretty much evergreen. We do go in and update when there's new restaurants and things like that, but they cover all of our favorite local spots and allow guests to come in and visit like a local.
I mean, honestly, I feel like I belong here.
You can also improve your guest experience at no cost by offering slightly earlier check-in or slightly later checkout when it's possible.
This is something that guests really appreciate, especially when they're traveling with kids or if they've arrived into town earlier than they expected.
That said, we've learned not to give away too much for free. If it's something that requires us blocking a night before or after their stay, then this is going to be something that we're going to charge for.
We don't have like a hard and fast set of rules here, but generally we're going to charge if someone is asking to stay more than, let's say, an hour after checkout or come maybe more than an hour before check-in.
If there have been any unexpected hiccups during the stay, a late checkout can kind of be a peace offering. But on the other hand, if it's been a difficult or an unreasonable guest and they ask for a late checkout, it's a hard no from us.
For same-day turnovers, we usually have to say no to a late checkout and oftentimes an early check-in as well. But if they've asked more than 24 hours in advance and our cleaners are okay with it, then sometimes we can accommodate.
So we do try to remain flexible with these early check-ins and late checkouts, but if we are able to collect fees for longer requests, this is a way to generate some income for ourselves and for owners for nights that would have gone unbooked.
Another thing that guests appreciate is having extra towels. And if you have plenty of spare towels already in your supply closet, then it's not going to cost you anything extra to leave out a few more and make sure they have plenty.
This is one of the small touches you can make, and it's something guests often mention in their reviews.
Our standard is to provide 2 bath towels per guest and then 2 washcloths per guest, one standard one of those black makeup washcloths, and then usually 2 hand towels per bathroom sink. And we also like to leave out several kitchen towels.
It's also the same for supplies like toilet paper. It's unlikely that guests are going to use all your toilet paper, but leaving out just one roll can make you look stingy. Leaving enough where guests aren't going to be concerned that they're going to run out is a good thing.
We've taken over properties for clients and seen reviews from their previous management specifically about not having enough supplies left out or enough towels left out.
We'll leave a link to our favorite black makeup towels and our full supply list in the description box below if you need some ideas on how to properly set up and stock your place with our favorite item.
But our main point here is that putting out a little bit more is going to look nicer, but guests aren't necessarily going to use that extra stuff, so it's not going to cost you anymore.
Mind games.
Lastly, being nice doesn't cost a thing.
We get it. Being a busy host, whether you are managing multiple properties or you're juggling a full-time career and family and all the things life stresses, it can make answering guest messages feel like a burden, especially if you're trying to do it quickly and in the heat of the moment.
It's easy to let your stress build up, and then when the guest asks a question like where the bath towels are and they're conveniently under the bathroom sink, it's easy to kind of get frustrated and take that out on the guest.
Not like you're gonna blow your lid at them for asking where the towels are, but it can be easy to just give like very short, blunt, to the point answers. But you do have to be cautious about how those answers are going to be received.
But we try to remind ourselves to keep the mentality that there are no dumb questions when it comes to guest inquiries. Being patient, staying positive, or a well-placed smiley face emoji can go a long way to keeping your guests feel like they're cared for.
Even if you're grumpy on the other end of the message. At the end of the day, being friendly and professional doesn't cost anything, and it can make a huge difference in how your guests experience their stay.
Nice on the outside, but mean on the inside?
So there you have it. Those are our 7 cost-free ways to enhance your guest experience.
We'd love to hear your thoughts as well, so please let us know in the comments if you have any free ideas to enhance the guest experience.
We're going to leave a video here on the screen we think you might want to check out next.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.